It is an exchange about experiences which are very diverse and complex, and it actually means to not compete for what is the proper and the correct depiction and narrative of transition of a certain period in history, but that there are complexities, that there are differences that need to be taken into account, and that it's legitimate. So it is sort of not a power play for the historical, for who has ownership over the truth, but a shared ownership for a joint understanding of something that happened in the past. So you get, through comparison, a deeper understanding, and I think that is the richness and really the potential of this project. And it's also very nice that we have different generations in this project. So there are people that were kids in the 90s, during the 90s, were born at the beginning of the 90s, and others who were already well into their professional careers. So also these different perspectives come together in this project. Well, Croatia has a painful process of nation building, which was in the 90s a period of violent conflict and war. And this has, of course, left large parts of the population traumatized, of different groups within the population struggling with daily lives. And Croatia as a nation took a painful path into international recognition, which ended, let's say, with entering the European Union in 2013. Croatia has already gone quite a long and very constructive way into having a plural discourse about its history, about in having different history textbooks available for schools, which are used on different formats and so on and so forth. But there are lots of experience we can share here, and things to learn and new methods. There is currently a process of curricular reform, which is not only tackling history curricula, but it's all encompassing. East-West is so much intertwined. We are living transnational lives very much. We are constantly in sort of referring to other parts of Europe in maybe with little knowledge. So whatever we can do to enlarge the knowledge about each other is helpful. And so much is happening in western parts of Europe nowadays through immigration, through processes of diversification, through political antagonisms that we see in everyday life. So I think there is quite a bit of in motion and unsettled and polarized in Western Europe, so the view to Eastern Europe might also help to understand better what's going on in Western parts of Europe. That's very good. Good question, because there is a fascination and also a nostalgia about the 80s. So less about the period when Tito was still alive, but rather the period when Tito had died in 1980, and when, let's say, transitions started to come into motion. The 1980s were a very interesting period also in popular culture. It was a period where Yugoslavia was the most open, probably. Today, there is a very popular series in Croatia which is called Black and White World, translated into Crno-bijeli svijet. And it is maybe the Croatian version of Goodbye Lenin, because you revisit cultural artifacts like music, like clothes, like daily items. You see ways of living together which people still remember. So the generation, my generation today, which passed in the 80s through the most dynamic young periods of their lives, are full of fascination for this, or remember the times and show it to their children. And the music that is being played in this series is also popular today. It's one of the mainstreams besides others, which still are very much part of social life. And yeah.